died of the water that was made bitter by this wormwood. It's radioactive poisoning. And then at the end of the prophecy, it talks about a third of the sun being struck, a third of the moon, and a third of the stars. And that's like the sky being darkened by nuclear winter.
Mm-hmm.
So each phase, it seems to be an accurate depiction of what the different stages of a modern nuclear war.
And this was written 2,000 years ago.
2,000 years ago.
Yeah.
So you have to figure from somebody seeing it at that time, what would it look like, and he has to put it in his own terms. You know, and the wormwood connection is just like another modern time connection that indicates that this is for this time.
Okay, now what else about current events leads you to believe that there will be a nuclear war?
Well, you know, in connection with that prophecy, the wormwood in Chernobyl, well, Chernobyl raised an interesting point because, well, basically what I've concluded through all my experiences, so much to explain. Look up conspiracy news in Yahoo in order if you want to get a full explanation, and that is that the collapse of the Soviet Union, everything we've seen up to now that leads us to believe it's peace for our time, it's actually fraudulent. It's a farce, and the idea is that, you know, we're being misled to instill a false sense of security in the United States and the West, so that we'll drop our guard, and so that the element of surprise is secured for this coming attack.
Okay, so the nuclear holocaust is going to be caused by Russia.
Russia, and it's intentional. It's something that's been planned. And you know, there's numerous reasons I believe this, but one of the reasons is actually astrology.
Okay.
And that's because a lot of these events that we've been seeing going on from Chernobyl on, the fall of the Berlin Wall, Gulf War, the war in Yugoslavia, all the major events seem to be timed according to astrology.
So do you think that means that the astrological conjunctions are making these events happen?
No, it's because, I mean, it could be the mystical forces of astrology. I believe it's more likely, though, that you have certain world leaders, certain world people in positions of power who believe in astrology and are shaping history according to it.
Are there any ones in particular?
Yeah, it's Phil saying Adolf Hitler did this. In World War II, he planned his campaigns and a lot of his political moves, major steps along the way of his rise to power and the war he waged according to the stars, according to astrology.
And which leader in Russia is doing this?
The mastermind, I believe, behind all this is the guy who started it, Mikhail Gorbachev.
Okay, so it's Gorbachev who's behind the potential Third World War.
Yes, I think he's the Antichrist.
Ah, and so that's where the religious beliefs tie in as well, the religious prophecy and interpretation.
Yeah, specifically the prophecy, you know, in the book of Revelation, the Antichrist is not like Hitler. The Antichrist is somebody who comes across as a benevolent leader and is actually going to try and make himself out to be Christ as the world savior. And he's going to deceive the world that people will actually believe this. And, you know, Gorby, you know, he got rid of the Soviet Union. He seemed to end the specter of nuclear war. So this guy is adored. He was Times Man of the Decade. Hitler was Times Man of the Year in 1938, by the way. And so that's just setting the stage. And I believe that ultimately he's going to seek to establish, if you will, this global dictatorship based on Russian orthodoxy. They're actually getting rid of communism to replace it with Orthodox Christianity. And in other words, he's going to establish a global church.
Oh, but it'll be based on him as the Antichrist, but as the unrevealed Antichrist.
Well, right. I mean, he's going to make himself out to be Christ, and that he's establishing his world church. That he's here to save the world. In other words, and that's why the way the war is being started is being done such a way, using Serbia and Iraq, so that the United States and the Western powers go in and bomb Serbia and Iraq, and thereby, you know, we're bombing these major long-term allies, historical allies of Russia. That this is going to elicit, you know, a violent reaction from Russia, or it's going to lead to supposedly, you know, these chaotic events like a military coup and possibly the rise of a right-wing dictator like Vladimir Zhirinovsky, who will come in and press the button and blow us to kingdom come. And then Gorby can come back and seemingly remove this guy from power. Of course, the KGB is still in control of everything that's going on. And, at that point, whatever is left of the world, he'll be held in very high esteem. He'll be worshipped for saving the world from whatever Russian madman they put in power to wage World War III.
That's interesting. Well, why don't we open up the phone lines
let's do that.
See what questions Cambridge has for us. All right, Cambridge, our phone lines are now open. The number is 876-0055.
And put it on the screen. Oh, it didn't take long to get a phone call.
Hello?
Hello, you're on the Psychic Fashion Show.
Hi, my name's Nuno. Who's that guy in the back?
It's me.
That's Physics Phil.
Really?
Really?
Use a Gillette razor.
A rather large one.
Well, Nuno, what's your question?
What's the topic?
Biblical prophecy.
Wait, I don't even know what that is.
The impending nuclear war.
Oh, that's not going to happen.
As long as the majority believe that, then it will be a surprise.
Oh, just show me your tits.
I hope you're not talking to me. All right, thanks for calling the show, Nuno.
What was I going to say?
Wow.
Hello, you're on the Psychic Fashion Show.
All right, can I ask you a question? Can you tell me if he has a boyfriend? Can you tell me if he's doing anything behind my back?
Actually, we're not doing psychic predictions today. We're talking about JP's theories.
Okay.
So do you have any question about current world events and astrology and the impending apocalypse?
Hi, I'm sorry. Excuse me. Hi, I'm sorry. This is her sister.
Yes.
Paula's sister. You're talking about astrology, is that correct?
That's right.
And is that just the basic signs, the birth signs?
Well, what we're talking about right now is world events and astrology.
Okay. You mean just basically like famous people and what kind of signs they
No, that's natal or tabloid astrology. That's for individuals. I'm basically discussing, or I can discuss, astrology with regard to major world powers shaping historical events according...
Do you mean like the president and what he did and stuff like that regarding astrology between...
Similarly, but I'm talking about dictatorial leaders like Hitler, but this...
Oh, I see.
But in this case, we're talking Serbia, Iraq, and Russia in particularly.
Oh, I see. Okay, then I'm sorry. Then we must be confused.
Did you have a question?
No, I just thought you said astrology, and I was thinking about birth signs.
Oh, okay. Well, sometimes we do shows on astrology, so please feel free to call back then, and we'll work on your birth sign.